All right. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're having yourselves a fantastic start to the AM here. Happy Thursday. Honestly, what has been a week that has both felt slower and maybe longer than expected. Pretty much no real enthusiasms here in the markets so far this week, right? We're in a very, very tight range, very minimal difference, right, between kind of Sunday's open, right, and today's open. So, not exactly a tremendous amount of enthusiasm. I mean, a weekly range here of 69 points, right, on ES is crazy. That's very, very small, right? Three times less than the previous one we had there mapped out. So very, very fascinating, right? I think that creates very much a story for us that we've been buying here so far, right? Which has been one of consolidation and then just being very, very patient, right? Waiting for good opportunities. It's almost like textbook um yeah, like summer conditions here almost, right? Where exactly like was just mentioned there, that the volume just like really dries up, especially over that lunchtime period. So from like say 12 Eastern to 2 o'clock, right? Pretty much nothing of interest from a volume perspective. So just making sure that we don't get stuck in something sticky here today is really going to be the priority. We've done a pretty good job kind of waiting for things here this week. So really just looking to keep pushing that, keep really building off of that momentum. And then hopefully, right, we can find ourselves that good opportunity or that clean opportunity. Again, I think the thing that we've done pretty well here so far this week is we've waited to execute after like the obvious failure from one side, right? So kind of the theme here has been a little bit of a grind, slow type trade here higher, then a relatively violent reversal. The biggest move of the day happens, and then it's a kind of slow, boring, grindy type move back in that direction. So probably fair to assume that that's probably the most likely outcome here today. Um, we'll see, right? But that's kind of how I'm like mentally preparing myself, or what I expect price action to do. The base expectation here is always that price action is going to behave like it always has until proven otherwise. And right now, our always has is grindy, quick reversals, big move, grindy, right? That's kind of like the order of operations. So let's see where things shape up here this morning. Let's see where we can get some enthusiasm, and let's see if we could really break out past all-time highs and really start to sustain. I think a little bit of consolidation under that area isn't necessarily a terrible thing, but the faster and further that we could separate, obviously, the better. From an economic calendar perspective, I mean, nothing too crazy. The bond auction, again, after market close, could be a little bit of something. I don't know if I'd lose too much sleep over that. So fine, it should be okay. But yeah, well, let's start mapping things out here. So yeah, good morning, everybody. Hope you're having yourselves a fantastic day. Absolutely, let's make it a great day. And Andrew, welcome. Thank you for tuning in, for watching. If you have any questions, obviously, please don't hesitate to reach out. We'll always do my best to help. All right, so what's the count on ES? Let's start there, and yeah, keep pushing. What do we think? What's the count? Hey, good morning, Stephanie. Yeah, it's 2 out of 3 there to the upside with volume, right? It's increasing volume there yesterday. Green candle. Now, the thing about this volume, right, is although it is technically increasing, it's hard for us to look at this and say that it's actually like strong or necessarily. Why would you guys, why would you say without volume, right? Volume is a binary. Either Wednesday's volume, right, which is the day that we're looking at here, is larger than Tuesday's, or it's not. So on ES, seems to be there, right? Rico, if you're having issues with the YouTube, either try refreshing your stream. Make sure that you have the correct like latency, or sorry, not latency, correct like that it's not like 360p, for example, right? I don't know what that means. So the volume here it's increasing, but it's not outlier. So and even relative to yesterday, or sorry, to Tuesday's, right, volume standard. Yeah, but we don't need the outlier denominator, right? It's either increasing volume or it's decreasing volume, right? It's one or the other. It's a binary. We're not adding then an extra element to it, right? So it's a binary. It either has increasing volume or it doesn't have increasing volume, right? So don't add any extra analysis to it. That's just going to complicate things. Does that make sense? All right, cool. So it's a binary, right? All three of the elements of the part are, it's a yes, no, right? Is the candle green? Yes, no. Okay. Is the volume increasing or decreasing? Okay, increasing, decreasing, not yes, no. Is it gapping up or gapping down, right? It's a yes, no. So keep it that simple, because that just keeps the base repeatable, and then you can build it out from there. So yeah, 2 out of 3 with volume right now. Although it does have volume support, that volume isn't particularly enthusiastic, right? So we do still we should still maintain a little bit of flexibility within that context, especially if we can see bigger volume than what we saw there yesterday. So if I could see like that increasing standard, right? If I could see bigger volume at today's open than yesterday's open, this would put us in a really good situation. Yeah, Andrew, this is Trading View here, the platform that I'm using. I would recommend going through the Start Here channel inside the Discord. It'll show you how to set up all your platforms and all your tools. Unfortunately, we just don't have time to help you do that here before market opens. So yeah, just willing to have some flexibility here in both directions. Again, levels wise isn't going to change here too much. But what I'm really looking for here is bigger vol than yesterday, right? So I would like to see that momentum shift or that momentum change, and then can kind of have some joy. To the downside, we maybe have a little bit more space, right? We're looking at like a 62.90 as our starting point. And then we're going 62.80, 62.70, 62.60. There we go. And then go from there. Again, we'd like to see an aggressive failure, right? Either bullish failure or bearish failure before we're super aggressive here this morning. All right, NQ. This is going to be a 3 for 3 here to the upside. Maybe a little bit stronger, right, than what I have there on ES. Also a stronger relative volume profile, right? So if I'm looking at ES's volume, right, you know, we've kind of seen, honestly, like just dripping, like Chinese water torture type volume, right? Like it's not exactly flowing here as a steady stream. So I would say that NQ looks a little bit stronger within that context, right? Closer to outlier volume there. So I'm going to maintain a bullish only bias here on NQ, because I'm being told that I have trending price action here to the upside. So I should be looking for that continuation narrative past all-time highs. Now we're going to be looking here at 23.2. And we expect our leading names here to be really pushing us higher, right? So something like NVIDIA this morning, I believe, has quite a lot of enthusiasm. And it's those names charging, right, that we're going to almost... maybe phrase that a little bit differently, but we're gonna want to see those leading names, right? Stuff like Nvidia here, with that momentum that they're showing us pre-market to sustain and to drag the indexes up with it. If they don't, then trading ES will be easier. But if we get that big breakout move, I think trading NQ should be a little bit easier as well. All right. Crude. So doji there on not really, I mean, it's increasing, but it's not exactly impressive, right? So again, we're going to call this a week 2 out of 3 to the upside with increasing vol, or just call say with vol. I'm just going to say non-outlier. And so that does give me some flexibility here in both directions. I mean, the size of this move here pre-market probably gives me a little bit of a bias for like a mean reversion type scenario, right? To get back towards like 67.50, right? Something along those lines, I think would be realistic. How far down is it? We're down 2.5%, give or take, right? 2.25%. We do have to be a little bit aware of the prop firm limits on this as well here, right? So there's going to be a prop firm limit at 5% down. So that would be, we'll say 65, right? So our ultimate target here to the downside would be 65. We don't have that much space. So again, right? Gives me information that maybe unfairly creates a little bit of a like a little bit of a bias, right? Where rules wise, right, or like execution wise, mentally it might be a little bit easier to trade here to the upside. Now that's both a good thing and a bad thing, right? That might mean that I talk myself out of bearish scenarios very easily, right? But or like talk myself out of them because I don't think that there's like the space for them or whatever it is. So need to just be aware of that here a little bit, where a move of this enthusiasm, right, when we've had this type of selling pressure and we have a president that is motivated to suggest that oil prices are too high, we've seen that, right, which is what this sell-off was, then this is not necessarily a move that is different to that personality, right? So I'm just got to fight that bias here, I think, a little bit this morning, and then should be okay. To the upside, I don't think I need to change too much here. Maybe targeting like 68 as our starting point here outside of the opening range, and then 68.50. But let's see. Not going to be maybe too aggressive here with crude. This has probably been a little bit less tradable than some of our other tickers, and we've had a pretty good week here trading the indexes so far. All right, Apple 2 out of 3 to the upside without volume, or with volume. Sorry, we just seem to be swapping these 2 out of 3s, right? It's been kind of annoying. Tesla doji decreasing volume, gap up, so 1 for 3. Maybe Portnoy is going to make his money. Microsoft 3 for 3 here. Not a great 3 for 3, but still the 3 for 3. Probably setting up as an inside bar. And I say it's setting up as an inside bar simply because it kind of just looks like today's candle opened up in pretty much the middle of yesterday's range, right? So it's just going to take a lot of work for it to break out either higher or to break out lower. If that happens, that would be tremendous. But maybe not the easiest bit of PA. All right, so Amazon 2 out of 3 here to the upside without volume. Not exactly a great looking 2 out of 3. We'll call this a weak. Okay, Nvidia, right? This one was gapping up here quite a bit this morning, so it is a 3 for 3. Let's see if that momentum can sustain. AMD, big gap up here, very, very big gap up. Come on, volume. There we go. Okay, so it's 2 out of 3 to the downside there with volume, but that volume has now been invalidated by gapping up. Oh my gosh. All right. Meta. Looks like it's going to be a 2 out of 3 with volume. Netflix, inside bar. And then Google 175.68. Technically a 3 for 3, setting up as an inside bar. All right, so market opened 2 minutes ago. Big selling pressure here early. Interesting. Oh. All right, let's have ourselves a day, team. Let's have ourselves a day. What's the error you're getting, John? Interesting. I was just able to log into mine, no problem. What browser are you using? Okay, interesting. Same setup as me then. I don't know. That's a weird one. I had no issues there logging in. Same here. It's not working, Rajat. Or same here. No issues. Yes, not working. Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. Everyone's isn't working. Why is mine? Top step X isn't loading. Okay, so maybe there was just a little bit of a delay there around the market open. But yeah, that's weird. Maybe it turns out that their Project X isn't as robust as they imply. How's everyone feeling this morning? Everyone feeling good? Good, good. Okay, we're not looking up or not looking likely to get increasing volume here on these second candles. Terrible volume, but just a little bit better than yesterday. Not like a huge amount better. ES less. So NQ just a little bit more at the open. ES a little bit less. A bit of a weird scenario. Oh, Possible breakdown scenario here on the old crude. Yeah. Yahoo Finance. That's not sure if that's the industry leader, let's put it that way. Okay, so crude is interesting here potentially. Again, we have up until $65, right? That's our give or take limit here. Our limit's actually, it's like 15 cents lower than that, so I guess it's just a little bit of a buffer. But that's worth potentially watching here. Look on a minute 20. Nice, Rusty. That's a good day to be watching. Congratulations. How much you pulling? This is really good volume. All right, so for sure watching crude to the downside here. Oh. Let's go, Rusty. Let's go. Congratulations, man. That is fantastic work. Hopefully enough to pay for some diapers too. Okay, so I mean that's pretty reasonable. We should be able to have something here. I mean, pullback technique would still be ideal. And I'd be looking like 85 or better. Right, so my reference price here would be 85 on this pullback. Problem with the aggressive technique here is I can't quite get the risk reward where I would like it. Ideally, I'd like that green line to be below the low of my confirmation candle, because once we break down, I want to see a retest of my confirmation candle low as my entry target. If that doesn't quite act as support, then it's really hard to trust basically the quality, right, of your trades. Brady, sounds like there's a lot of tech issues going around here this morning. The second report of a broker being a bit funky here today. So just as a general, right, word of caution here, team, if you're having tech issues, I know it's frustrating, right, that it's potentially preventing you from trading. Please don't like force anything or rush anything or trade in spite of that. It sucks, but the best thing to do, right, when you do have some tech issues is just to take a step back, walk away, right, and don't do anything stupid. Your most likely outcome, right, for if you are able to execute a trade and you are dealing with consistent tech issues, is that if you execute something, you're going to struggle to be able to get out of it, right? And that could mean blowing way past your stop loss. That could mean not being able to close when you're profitable. That could mean a ton of different variables, right? So please don't do that. It's just asking for trouble. So make sure, right, that your trades are executing the way that you expect. If issues do get resolved, and send a test order, right, like 1 micro or something like that, just to make sure that you do actually have that control. If you are unable to execute the way that you expect at that point, right, um, much easier to be able to get out of that. So please, right, I know it's frustrating, I know it isn't fun, but yeah, tech issues, sometimes they happen and there's nothing we can do about it besides um kind of just eating crow, right, and not making things worse. Okay, so good decision to have not chased CL here on the aggressive. So basically, like when I worked institutionally, this is worth talking about. When I worked institutionally, um, I worked US hours, right? And I was in the UK. So markets opened there. I think it was like 2:30 or something like that. Maybe it was 1:30. Either way, right? My job, I had to get into the office. I had to get into the office for 3 hours before markets opened, right? Something along those lines. And for those 3 hours, all I was doing was testing connections, right? So testing orders in pre-market, making sure that we're actually getting correct market data, that we're doing all that kind of stuff. And then if we had issues, right, to fix it. But it's a little bit different here, right? Because well, we're not using any proprietary data sources, right? So we're relying on direct access to the exchange via brokers. There's nothing for us to fix. There's stuff for them to fix. The other, I guess, benefit of how things have gone here so far this week is we've waited, right, for basically the morning BS to resolve itself. And then once price action kind of settles, sorry, Deb, I'm not sure if I understand your question. What's computer share? No, I'm not sure what that means. So I quit working at Air Rain 7 years ago. Be 7 years ago now. Just a little bit over 7 years. I don't know what Compass Share is either. But yeah, with like just how slow things have been, right, in the market, you're probably giving them enough time. Ah, no, okay. I see. No, so for us, when I worked at the fund, I wasn't allowed to invest in any individual securities, but I was allowed to invest in the fund. So the rule that we had was that effectively we weren't allowed to open any positions within 3 days of a position being opened by the company. But they had so many different strategies that effectively, on anything you'd be interested in trading, they would have opened up a new position. So yeah, the workaround is we got to invest in the fund and get value there without any of like the management fees or performance fees, stuff like that. Bit of a divergence, right? Between ES and NQ. Kind of different than I expected. I maybe would have expected NQ to show me strength and ES to show me weakness. Maybe it's playing a bit of catch up here now. I have an interesting open here. Good volume on this. I mean, this could be a reversal signal. I mean, we need to close above 31, right? So 8 points to go. Oh. Very close by the looks of it, but probably going to be a no cigar. Trying to like reverse jinx it. Okay, no confirmation there on the 3-min time frame. Maybe it could happen here on the 5. Yes, I could potentially trade here to the upside. Only thing that's maybe slowing me down is that. I mean, I think obviously that reaction there, post confirmation, invalidates the idea. Almost everything is cracking red. Okay, maybe on NQ it is worth having a bearish plan here. We'll be targeting 22.8. That would be the thesis here, right? Pretty interesting looking rejection. So stop loss for now would have to be 23.04. I mean, that's going to change. Reference price would be 89. So can't really see this thing pull back too much more. Like you can't go past like 14, 23.14. It's 9:51, still really early. Yeah, and I don't know if this has been a super tremendous A plus perfect reaction here so far, right? It's kind of been uh I would describe this price action as like non-committal so far. Kind of a weird sensation. Okay. So we're starting to watch here. Team short for sure. This is a better looking reaction. Okay. And it'd be a one contract play, guys, right? It'd be a one contract play. And we want to see a gentle pullback here. Oh, it didn't give me enough. That's ruthless. Went to 86, not to 89 on that pullback. That was mean. Okay, might come back here. And I can't click submit at 82, right? That'd be risking too much. I still need it to pull back a little bit, right? That's why that 89 is there. That's my appropriate risk reward ratio. Yeah, for now, Deb, I'm really focusing on NQ here. You know, kind of right at the moment where I'm looking at an entry. I'm not going to now look at CL. Okay, so still potentially interested here, team. Still potentially interested. And again, right, we need like a 89 or better. An okay close. Come on, 10 points, not that much. Okay, so still focusing here. Reference price is 89, right? So I'm looking for a gentle pullback above that price. Stop loss, I'll be setting exactly at 23,012. This is a short, right? My red line is my stop loss. So if my red line here is above, this is a short. All the candles leading up to it, right? Big bearish candles, big scary red ones. So it's a short. Okay, I mean, we could potentially still do the aggressive technique. This could handle continues to be my confirmation here. Reference price then would be 68. Stop loss would be 86. So, 18 points, give or take, of risk. I mean, that would be reasonable. Okay. So we'll call that 20. Anti-type 22,987 as the stop. And it needs a gentle pullback here into 68.50 or better. $67. Gentle though. It's got to be gentle. So far, not so gentle, right? So be patient here. Okay, better. My order is hanging with no fill. So I've just canceled that order. I'm going to wait for these maybe 3 min candles to close now. But just didn't get that retest right post pullback. So fine. Bit of a pain in the butt, but is what it is. If you guys got that entry right, you're in really, really good shape. Fantastic, Nautilus. So yeah, make sure that you're not letting this trade go red. But yeah, really, 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 really well done. Let's go, Eric. Nice work. So yeah, I tried to click submit, but price just moved just a little bit too quickly. I did not get a fill. So instead of chasing it, just cancel the order and reset. Let's go, Dawn. Still not quite at that 1% of range here yet. Let's go, guys. Nice work. Yeah, I mean, that's 10 a.m. It's not a great looking candle. Still held higher high, or still held lower low, sorry. It looks a little bit like a fake out, maybe. Can't do that. Ooh, that's close. Okay. Probably targeting. Crazy. No, it's fine, right? You made good money, guys, right? So please don't complain about making $500. Considering you made that in like 2 minutes, that's a pretty good day. The thing to track, right, is why you got nervous. That's the thing to track in your journal. Were you justified or were you not, right? $400 in 2 minutes? Like, not many jobs will pay you that, guys. I appreciate your skill levels, but pretty good income. Yeah, exactly. That's pretty good. Oh. A great looking close on that 3 min. Let's go, Ian. Congratulations. Heck of a day. $1,100. Well done. Everything's kind of having a few issues here, right? Like everything's kind of slowed down here. Let's go. Man, okay, you guys are making me jealous here now, just a little bit. Everyone banked on that one. Fantastic. You might get another look here. I mean, it's good increase in volume. And we'd be targeting like 800 here. Okay, so again, right, we're instantly looking here at the aggressive entry technique. Give it a second, right? Give it a second, see where it finds support. Stop loss for now would be 927. So 927 stop loss. This is coming together quickly here, team, right? So I'm starting to look already. 2 contracts, potentially 3. Okay, guys, I'm in short 920, 3 contracts. It instantly broke down. I mean, I could not have timed that entry any better. For me, no, I don't care. I'm a little bit thinking about just closing this and running, though. No. Done. All right, guys, I'm out. I am out at 906. It just gave me instant move. Like I went from 920 to 905 in a second. So that for me feels more like a capitulation type reaction than it does a strong trend. So I think closing it where I did ultimately ended up being a really good decision. It was too perfect of a reaction, if that makes sense. Like it was suspicious. So just the fact that my entry was like too good, almost, and like that the reaction was too big, too quick. It yeah, you just got to take it and run, I think. Like to make $1,000 there doing effectively nothing, it kind of feels like I cheated the market a little bit. So here's always talk about, right, like the more that you think about your own entry, right, the better things go for people generally, right? So we kind of have a good example here today where pretty much the entire team made money on this initial breakdown. I missed it. I make money on the second breakdown. Everyone else misses it. So kind of a weird yeah, kind of just a weird variance day, right? It's like maybe that's like a sign of frothy markets, right? Interesting. Let's go, Don. Hell of an exit. Nice work. Nice work, Patrick. And you know what, guys? Closing it was 100% the right decision, right? Like, I think we had a very good read on that, actually. Oh, man, it feels so much better when your first trade of the day is green. Yeah, so from 920 to 906, so 14 points with 3 contracts. I can't really complain. Quick $840. Okay, CL now starting to actually look like a high conviction breakout. You'd be targeting 67.50 would be your target here to the upside. So we'd be looking at like this. Now we have nat gas storage at 1030, although I don't anticipate that to be a limiting factor. You honestly never know. Let's go. Pretty much performed me tick for tick there. Effectively like a 1.5 point difference between total executions. That's really good. Okay, so watching crude here, guys. Watching crude. 67.15 would be the stop loss. Right, and it's a long this time. And I'm looking, I mean, I might not get a chance here. It kind of just blasted through. But I need an entry. I mean, I'm unwilling to compromise. I need an entry at that blue line, 21. Yeah, I appreciate that, Brooke. Look, the reality, right, is every trader is going to go through like peaks and valleys, right? There's going to be times where you trade really well. There's going to be times where you don't necessarily trade very well. And you have to have a way to be able to get yourself back to a base level, right? So as much of it was a hit on my ego to say that I need to like slow down and like reset, it also has then been the catalyst, right, for what's going to be like 25 green days in a row. So yeah, you can either fight your ego or you can make money. It's a pretty easy decision when it comes down to it. Okay, so 3-min time frame here is now what we're looking at. Again, still targeting that 67.50. Yeah, I think a big thing, at least for myself here as a trader, and this is just rattling around in my head, so I got to get it out of the way. But there's like when I stopped expecting myself to be perfect, and instead I started expecting myself to just get better, it made a huge difference. Like psychologically, just getting off of that P&L roller coaster, it's made such a big difference. And it's tough. It's tough to go from like I need to make money every day to I need to get better every day. Well, that's the differentiator, I would say, at least for me. Like that's probably the biggest difference. Okay, so I am looking here for sure. 67.31 would be the stop loss. And I'll be honest, I wanted to kind of talk about that story a little bit so I could just buy myself time to watch this price action. A selfish decision disguised as genius. All right, just a little bit of ranting and raving saved me some money there. Again, CL might set back up for sure. But starting to pull back maybe a little bit too much here now. Yeah, I don't know if I would trust a pullback into 23 at this point, right? Interesting. Here's a question for you guys. So today, right, we in the pre-market didn't have a bearish bias, right? We were pretty much willing to go bullish only on NQ. And then we switched that, right? We ended up going short on NQ here today. And that's where we made our money, right? And that's where probably the easiest moves of the day have been. Like if we're looking at the ES chart, for example, right? It's all kind of wiki bullshit. NQ, it's a little bit more consistent, right? From a candlestick perspective. Do you guys understand why I created that bearish bias? And do you understand why I did it? So like why I was willing to switch to having that? What do we think here? Yeah, so it's a combination of things, right? One, the thesis that we had here pre-market, right, was that a lot of our leading names were also showing us their strength to the upside, and they were going to continue or hopefully sustain some of those moves. The leading names that we were watching, right, to continue to sustain some of that momentum higher didn't hold, right? So Meta, Netflix, right, Nvidia, the three tickers that were showing us that bullish enthusiasm that seemed to be propping up NQ here this morning, all effectively failed, right? So once we got a pretty clear indication of evidence that those names were actually not showing us that strength, then it became reasonable for us to then look for opportunities. The other element there that also made NQ a little bit more tradable is that that opening volume here today, right, was larger than the opening volume there yesterday. So if I'm arguing that we're looking for a invalidation, right, of previous day's momentum, then I'm seeing that, right, by establishing a larger volume pace at market open. So first thing here, right, was that my thesis was based on three tickers effectively, right? NVIDIA, Netflix, and Meta, all showing us relative strength here pre-market and kind of propping up markets. Those names all failed to cooperate, right, with that thesis. We then saw more bearish momentum or more bearish selling than what we saw from bulls there yesterday. So we invalidated the volume standard that we had established, and we could kind of reasonably suggest, right, that NQ wasn't actually trending here to the upside. So it wasn't a going against the rules. It was seeing what defines them. So generally in scenarios, right, where we have a 2 out of 3 with volume, if we can invalidate that with volume, right, by getting larger than it, then it's kind of a good indication, right, that that isn't actually trending price action. It's a little bit of a rare market environment, right? You tend to not see those examples very, very often. But on days like today, where it did happen, we were able to switch away to the ticker of least resistance, and that made us some pretty good money here today. So no complaints, but that's the general basic logic there over why that change happened. So you can invalidate pre-market conditions in, we'll say, 3 ways, right? So way number 1, you make a higher high or a higher low versus your previous candle, right? So you break out contrary to what that thesis was, and it just doesn't seem like it's going to stop, right? So that's way number 1. Way number 2, right, is you get bigger volume than anything you saw previous day or at previous day's open. And then if you have some sort of like external market narrative, if that either does what you say or doesn't do what you say, right, that also then becomes the catalyst. So today we use 2 of those 3 elements to help us find the path of least resistance. And we were willing to be a little bit flexible. Now, the important thing here, right, is that before I ever traded an opportunity, right, or played a breakdown, I did map it out, right? I went onto the daily chart. I set my daily levels. I found my targets here to the downside, and I didn't go like make it up as you go, right? So I still made sure I did the preparation and then, right, look for opportunities for executions. Make sense? So we'll see how much busier I'm gonna be here today. But does kind of feel like the move of the day has probably already happened, at least on NQ. With ES here, right? I mean, I could for sure play a breakdown towards like that 296 area. The problem is that when I look at these wicks and I look at this chart, I see so few examples of like easy price action. I see scenarios where if I was in this trade or this trade or like in a trade with this candle, that I am losing my mind, right? Like it would be very fast. I didn't do one contract on that sell, Sean. I did three. So it's always okay based on entry minus stop loss. How close can I get to 500 bucks worth of risk? Oh no, it wasn't a one contract. That was three contracts. Ooh. Yeah, sounds good, Rajat. Have yourself a great day. Well done. Let's go, Herschel. Nice work. That's really frustrating, Eric. Yeah, it's strange. I had no issues with my Top Step account today. I think they're just not offering new products. The issues with Top Step here today aren't on any of their external brokers. It's in their own internal platform. Yeah. I don't know how much more I'm gonna do here. like I said, I kind of feel like I missed, or not missed, like we've had the move of the day already. So not quite the 1%. So still some maybe implied follow through. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with today. I got no complaints. Yeah, that's fine. So stop loss would have been like 308.50. No complaints. And then target would have been like 296. This is effectively like the low vol pullback variant, right? So you have the high vol breakout, you get the consolidation back into the opening range, and then you get that high volume rejection inside the range. I've got no issues with that, Doug. That's fine. Only reason I wasn't interested in a similar look is just this candle, this candle, this candle, and this candle all to me just looked like emotional nightmares. So I'm green on the day. I don't know if I want the stress. Yeah, I think that was a very, very good trade. Yeah, and that would have been my target too. Low a day, spot on. But yeah, basically my fear was that it probably is going to get a bit wicky and a bit bouncy. But I think you closed at the right spot for sure. I wouldn't call that a panic close. I think based on the information that you've seen, pretty much everything under 299 to 296 defended by dip buyers, right? So probably not unexpected for that to be a wick city spot. All right, one sec. Your team beer back. I'm sorry to hear that, Jeff. Kind of sounds like it was a bit of some weird tech issues here across the board today with Top Step. It does happen here, guys. And look, as you progress, right, and as you spend more time in the program and you build up a little bit more success as a trader, then you're going to be able to diversify your prop accounts, right, and kind of mitigate that. Or you're going to have the opportunity to build up a personal account, right, and then also be able to mitigate that. But it unfortunately does happen, and it's part of the game. It's frustrating, but it's a part of the game. Hey, 342 bucks is still a great day, Jared. Nice work. Nice work, Kiki. Steady as she goes, always. Love it. Yeah, that's funky. I mean, all things considered, I only spent about 15 seconds in that trade anyway, so here's what it is. Well, you like seeing all the new members. I like seeing all the success from members, so good combo. I'm sorry to hear that, Karina. I mean, I'm still watching, Eric. I am still watching. The thing that probably scares me a little bit, that would make me say that maybe the most probable outcome here is a fake out, would be the divergence between the indexes, right? NQ sitting relatively near lows, ES about to break out. I don't know if it kind of seems like all the enthusiasm has been in NQ here today. You know, maybe that caps its ability to break out immediately. It and this is maybe kind of like confirmation bias or anecdotal evidence, but it hasn't quite felt like a red to green reversal day. And that's kind of like, what does that mean? But it's almost like the moves off of these lows haven't been that smooth. Generally, when we see those enthusiastic red to greens, it's like fake out lower, straight line higher all the way towards that 2R level effectively. I think the like multi pullback variant of this, I don't know if it's less effective, but it's definitely more nerve wracking. You've kept trading? I thought you were up already. Yeah, don't do that, right? Be smart. $800 for a relatively small range day is fantastic, right? Don't get greedy. Better to compound green days than it is to try to like turn an $800 day into a $2,000 day. The feeling of going from up $800 to now only being up 300 or 100 is worse than the feeling is going to be going from 800 to 1600. Right? So the mental capital risk reward ratio there is very, very skewed. Be very careful with that. This is quite the breakout. What do you think happened there, Eric? That seems strange. Nice. I mean, this is definitely behaving like a breakout. I mean, pulling markets or NQ up with it. That's more the reaction one would expect. So yeah, it could be in play here. I hear you. Okay. Targeting 2150. So can't pull back further than 312.50. Did instantly. Now you're looking at the pullback technique. Has to get under 311.75. Okay, I mean, we could still maybe pull this. It'd be 2 points of risk, so $100 a contract, right? So it'd be 5 contracts. Stop loss 312.50. So reference price, right, is just the green line. Okay, guys, I'm in at 314. In at 314. Stop loss 312.50. 5 contracts. All right, so let's see if this thing can push here. Not a perfect close. Come on, breakout, baby. Hmm. Maybe it looks a little bit like a fake out. All right, stopped me out there. It didn't look like it crossed, actually. Nah, it would have. Okay, fine. I mean, this just could be a fake out setup here. Mean. I mean, just a classic fake out. And it's a classic little fake out. Pretty annoying. Maybe there's a scope to do this. kind of an unenthusiastic reaction here. Much better. Just looking for an entry here still, Brady. So it'd have to be something like this. Stop loss 315.25. Hey, look in here, team. All right, I'm in 316.25, stop loss 315.25, just 5 contracts. Come on. Stopped me out again on the fake out. Lost 187.50 on that one. Fake out again. I am in, back long at 315.75. Stop loss 315. Kind of bought that fake out. I'm not sure if that was a very good decision though. If you missed it, here's your reset up, right? Why did it fake out first? You've seen that happen how many times today? A lot, right? Worst possible reaction. Feels kind of greasy here now. What's the time? Come on. Just a little inside bar here. Oh. Honestly, kind of degraded my edge here a little bit in the second half of this session. A good green day, but I gave away a little bit more P&L than I should have. So, any other questions here, team? Any other questions? I'm not going to do too much else here and turn this into a red day. Yeah, I feel the same way, Ryan. It feels a little bit stupid. Oh, I gave away a little bit more than that. Sounds good, Corinna. We're kind of fighting this fake out a little bit here. No, I think the thesis was right. I don't have any issues with it. It's just sometimes you get a little bit unlucky there at the end. Well, I made $900 trading NQ to the downside. This thing's going to bail me out here in a second, guys. All right, I'm out of it. I mean, that got me a little bit back closer to reasonable, but yeah, there's a lot of no, not anymore. There's a lot of like just bullshit to get back to where I was, right? Yeah, I think that's probably more what we should take out of it today, right? We had the big move, the momentum happened, and then it's been a it was $840 on NQ, Patrick. So from it was like 14 points, I think, three contracts. Yeah, so from 919.75 to 906. So like 800 and yeah, $30 on that. So send me your executions later, Patrick, like you've been doing. Okay, so I had about, yeah, 3 times bigger move than you. 2.5 times bigger move than you. That's a big difference. No, I'm out. I've been out for a while now. I'm just looking to see if the market has anything left in store for me, but one was, one wasn't. All right, guys. Any other questions here? Any other questions? I think I'm done for the day. I'll just cause trouble if I don't walk away. A lot of work for $600 today. So final call for questions, team. Final call for questions. Anything? All right. Well, same deal like always, right? If you have any questions, hit me up outside of market hours. I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as I can. If I've missed your message or whatever, just send me a little bump up. I'll take care of it here. But yeah, good trading day here. Maybe a little bit pointless there at the end. Would have made more money just walking away at 10 a.m. But that's the way it goes sometimes. Yeah, you kind of have to. I mean, there's a balance, right, between taking all your setups that show up and just trading and stuff like that. So maybe walked a little bit too much on the other side of that line there on my second and third trades. But happy to be walking away. Happy to be green on the day. Keep the streak alive. But yeah, should have been $200-300 better day. So yeah, I left a little bit of money on the table for sure. Yeah, I'll take it for sure. I'll take it for sure. But a little bit, maybe a little bit of ego trading there at the end. Where it's like, oh, like I'm good. Like, oh, 20, I got 24 days of support. I'll be fine. I don't know if that's the right way to think. Let's go. Nice exit. That puts you nicely green on the day. Like you got like 2 points more than I did. Fair play. All right, team. So yeah, same deal like always, right? If you have any questions, hit me up outside of market hours. I will do my best to get back to you as soon as I can. Yeah, kind of a weird trading day, right? A couple fake outs, some tech issues across the board, some really kind of like quick moves, exaggerating slow markets. So happy to be walking away green. Like I kind of said in my journal here, I feel a little bit stupid, kind of about just like wasting my time trading the second half of the morning. It didn't make me any more money. It just kind of like cost me a bit of my mental capital. And I don't know if that last trade was one that I'm particularly proud of. With the VIX, Don, I keep it really simple. So VIX divided by 16 kind of gives you an implied daily range. And then VIX, I mean, then it's kind of just like relative to what it is. Generally, you want to see in a big bearish market above 20. In a bullish market, you kind of want to see it grinding a little bit lower than that. For me, the sweet spot tends to be kind of in that like 20 to 16 range, right? That seems to be kind of my sweet spot for volatility. But no, I don't really have anything else besides that. Just how I use it. All right, team. So we'll be back at it again here tomorrow, and we'll try to finish off the week really strong. But it's been 25 really good trading days here. Long may it continue. And yeah, let's see what markets have in store for us here tomorrow to finish off the week. So have yourselves a great one. I'll catch up with a few of you here in our one-on-ones later this afternoon. But yeah, I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Peace.